Corey Christ, DIEnecology Podcast. I am your DIEnecologist, and today my guest, I'd like to welcome a friend of mine. This is Andrew of Septum and Pressure Point. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. And it's good to have you on. I appreciate you coming on. And
Thank
you
you
got
for letting me on here. I'm
yeah,
excited.
yeah, and you got both bands have spring demos that are out right now. Anywhere you can hear demos, the Bandcamp, I'll put links down below, as well as like Spotify and all that other good stuff. So I guess, before we get into the blood and guts of this podcast, just talk a little bit about the bands, whichever one you want to start with, and just talk about the
Well,
releases.
I'll start with Bone. It's been around a little bit longer. Septum started because of the bass player Dan is an old friend of mine. He booked shows in East Tennessee years ago. He was the John City guy for a long time. Him and like Westlick and all those guys. But I was going to shows of his when I was like 14, 15 years old.
Nice.
And when I was 18, he moved to Greensboro, North Carolina. And I really just didn't, we really just didn't talk. Like that, I'd spent, you know, uh, probably like 7 or 8 years. We just didn't have a conversation. And for
Yeah.
some reason, we just reconnected early 23, I guess like January 2023.
Yeah, yeah.
And within like 24 hours, he was like, dude, I'm in a band that doesn't have a singer. Like, are you doing anything? And I was like, dude, I'd love to. And he just kind of pitched the idea of doing like a stupid um, caveman death metal band. The jokes kind of ran to the ground now, but we're
Oh
rolling
yeah.
with it. Who gives a fuck? And if a band can write 20 albums about a death, we can write 20 songs. We can write 20 albums about caveman. I don't give a
Yeah, I
shit.
mean it's our history, whether people want to admit it or not.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's really performative.
Tap
I
into
mean,
your primal brains a little.
yeah, and as soon as people start like whenever Frozen Soul started bringing out snowblowers, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't give a fucking, don't give a damn, dude. I'm gonna run it in the ground.
That's right.
Um, but yeah, they kind of had songs written. No singer. They were just writing songs. The three of them. It kind of existed prior to me. I kind of showed up. They were like, "Here's the song titles. Like we thought were funny. Here's
Yeah.
like album. Like we have album titles for albums that aren't written, just
Yeah.
because we just think of something's funny and it's going into a Google Doc or whatever, you know."
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then Pressure Point started this year. We've only played 2 shows.
You
But
got the
that
Knoxville Hardcore Vest in June
yeah,
and
both are
Septum too. Yeah,
yeah, both are playing.
awesome.
The day one is Pressure Point will be pretty early in the day, and then Septimum plays day two, kind of about midway through the day.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, Pressure Point bass player played in my old hardcore band, Full Swing,
yeah.
years ago. He's my oldest friend, probably Zach Wiles.
Hmm.
And then our friends, Mike, he formerly of like Every Promise Kept and stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Evan, who plays in Two Choices. So that's
Love
the
the
main
two
two.
choices cats too.
Yeah, good
Hell
band.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we just started that one just to be kind of more like a straightforward hardcore band,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of a little bit more serious toned and stuff. And just we just I mean, we can probably get into this a little bit, but I help book shows around here too.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Well, definitely,
um,
talk a little
we
bit
need
about
more
that.
locals all the time.
Yeah.
So having another band that's kind of more of a straightforward band, it was kind of like, yeah, I guess I'll do it. Why not? I'll be there. I'll take the bullet, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah. That's
so
good.
that's kind of the basis of those two.
Yeah, and then the talk about we'll start with Septum Bone. Was supposed to be more just kind of not always satirical, but more just a fun project to do, which is a good thing. But it's fucking killer music. So whoever's watching this is curious. I mean, check it out for sure. It doesn't sound like it's a joke because you guys are pretty fucking good. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess talk about your first release and then into this one, the spring release.
Yeah, we've done just 2 singles prior to like releasing an actual full blown like multiple song project type thing.
Right,
And it still really isn't that big of a release. It's like an intro, 2 songs and a cover.
right.
But the first couple songs, the way I look at it now in retrospect is we were kind of like dipping our toes in the water.
Yeah,
I truly want to go back and redo those songs later down the road. I don't know if they'd ever be interested in it. I'd love to do like a full length and add those two songs back,
I
being
would, yeah.
Excited Grunt and Ignite.
Yeah.
It took us really hard. It was really hard for me to figure out what I wanted to sound like and what I wanted production to sound like and the direction that I wanted to go in.
Yeah.
And I look back at them now and I like the songs, but I really want to redo them because now I feel like we found it. Like I'm really,
Yeah.
really happy with the way new stuff sounds.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, I feel like that we could, I feel like we were almost too clean at the start. We really got kind of dirty with especially vocal production. It's really,
Yeah.
really gross to me is the way I explain it. It's very, very
Yeah.
dirty.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing was with this release is I wanted to not look like you said it's kind of satirical, it's kind of funny, but like I don't want to be a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
The best way I can explain it is like, yeah, this was like funny hee ha 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 music about caveman stuff, but I got to play a show, like I got to open for Vader and Origin and
Yeah.
Inhuman Condition.
Yeah.
And
That
it's
was a
like
good show.
it's not a fucking joke to me anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm
Right.
even if the lyrics are funny, the theme's funny, I'm dead serious. Like I didn't
Yeah.
think I was gonna do music again until Septum. Like I had done
Right.
that hardcore band years ago. I was done. And doing those two songs, like I just fell in love with doing music again, playing live shows, like
Yeah.
and we kind of pitched this band. They all live about 3.5 hours from me,
Damn.
in North Carolina. We kind of pitched the band as like we're gonna play a show a quarter, and dude, we're like ripping shows like crazy. And
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm getting the time. Like we're just like fiending for it. And it's like
Yeah.
we tried real hard to make this just
Up-
for fun, and we're like
Yeah.
we can't stop. It's like we just can't stop it.
Having too much fun. Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah. So the first show, and I'm gonna, once this is gonna drop, I'll go ahead and tease it with the video I've shot, and I've posted it before, but I'll post it on the podcast page. Is when your guys' first show that I went to, you had all these like inflatable like caveman clubs. Now, where you
Yeah.
got them, don't want to know. I think it's just hilarious, and you just threw it out to the crowd, and everyone was just bonking the shit out of each other with them the entire set, and it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. As far as like a first show for like a technically a local band, like you know, um, it was wild. I mean, that people just had a fucking blast beating the fuck out of each other with those clubs, and people were throwing them because they were like, I don't want to beat people up anymore, and that someone else would take it like next to me on the side and like run out and start hitting people too. Like people were jumping on people to hit them like over the head. It was so
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, just like as soon as you guys got on stage, it was over. It was great.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like it's hard to balance. I'm probably gonna talk about it a lot. Being funny, but
Yeah,
also want to be taken seriously. I want people to feel like I want to be like I want people to participate in shows.
yeah.
But I
That's one
also
way to
don't
do
want
it.
it to be. But yeah, but I also don't want a push up pit.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I don't
yeah,
please
yeah,
don't row. Please don't do push ups.
yeah. I
Please,
want some
please.
people
But
moshing, kicking each other.
if I can give you a harmless mosh weapon, such as a blow up club, I'm gonna
Yeah,
do it.
exactly. Yeah,
That they something might come back eventually. We'll do something funny again. That was like a first show
yeah,
celebration type deal, but we might do something funny. We've brainstormed other things we could do down the line, but
yeah. You can
that was our way of making it fun, but also making people still mosh like maniacs.
throw fake shit and piss on people. That'd be a good one.
Dude, that's a good one. I really want like inflatable rocks instead of like beach
Yeah,
balls. I think
rocks.
that'd be hilarious.
All right, inflatable steak if you can find it. Throw
Yeah,
steaks
yeah,
at
yeah.
people. Yeah,
Yeah,
some.
just big old meat like turkey legs and
Yeah,
shit. Yeah. Anything. I'm
or
down.
not to make it a mascot band, but just get one of your boys to wear one of those T-Rex costumes and
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
kind of get people
Um,
moving a little more.
I'll
That'd be pretty good.
you can I'll remind me now after the pod and I'll send you the a picture of it. But we put a Halloween show in
Yeah,
South
yeah.
Carolina and I
Nice.
came out we did full blown caveman stuff. So like a couple of us were like Fred Flintstone
Fuck yeah.
and then like I had on like a shoulder one that
Yeah,
came
yeah.
down. And for the last song, I took it off, and
Like
all
a
I had was a
singlet. Yeah.
loincloth. I had a loincloth was all I had, and it was really hard because
Yeah.
like I'm the type to like kick and jump around and stuff, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely gonna like go to jail for indecent exposure if I don't calm down right
It's
now.
Halloween. That's
Yeah,
be like this is what your our ancestors were wearing.
yeah,
Totally
you got to get
acceptable
over
now.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. get
Like
over
you watch wrestling, they wear, stuff
it.
that's
Yeah.
more revealing than loincloths sometimes.
Yeah. And if you book a caveman band for a Halloween show, you better know what the fuck we're about to show up
Right.
in.
Ah, hell
You're
yeah.
lucky I didn't spear somebody.
Fuck yeah. Right through a fucking table, man. All right. So with all that being said, and yeah, the release is awesome if you guys haven't heard it or you're just checking them out. Pressure Point, Septum Bone, they both of his bands have releases out right now, and you can stream them, do whatever you want to do, throw them some money. They got some merch up too. So definitely do that. If you're ever in the East Tennessee area or surrounding areas and they're playing a show, fucking come out. They're always a good time. Um, but now we will get into the bottom tier of the podcast, the second half, which is or as wrestling fans would be the Warzone half of the podcast. And we'll talk about actual experiences you may have had or have not had, perspectives on you know, uh actual death, because I know, we all face it every day. We all have our own experiences or have seen people struggle with things like that. And it's all around us, whether we like it or not. The media and TV, everything, it's in your face constantly, and there's never a shortage of it. So what I try to do here is just really find out how people channel that, because I feel like death metal, or just even just the metal genre in general, is the people that do this have a certain strength that are able to kind of turn these things into a more, turn it on its head more artistically, or just we have a better understanding of how to cope with it. Or really, we've just always had this medium to kind of channel it into, where a lot of people, just don't like the music, or they're not into it, they have their own mediums. But I always found death metal or metal in a sense, like it's always been crazy how it's just there, and it's like here's this angry music, but it's such a positive thing. So I guess, talk a little bit about your experience, whatever you're comfortable talking about, and just how you've been able to deal with it, and has music really been your part of your medium for channeling that and to kind of letting out emotion.
Yeah, I kind of just agree with you that we have a weird. I think even like not even like death metal as a whole, but like
Yeah,
just humanity has a weird obsession with like
yeah,
death and
for
stuff.
sure. Yeah,
And like you can go back like pre-death metal or metal at all. Like you got like guys like Screaming Jay Hawkins who are intentionally
yeah,
trying to do like some weird shit,
right.
just to
Yeah,
intentionally like kind of poke fun at it, I guess, because what do you do? You can't just it comes for us all or whatever. So
yeah.
just some people can just face it.
Mm,
Um, to kind of start with, like Corey had seen this before. I had a band when I was like a kid that started when I was 17, and I was listening to hardcore. I was really into hardcore at the time, and death metal too. That old band used to open with Obituary all the time. But
fuck yeah,
um, I heard all these songs about like being there for your friends and
yeah,
loving your family, like, and I thought it was just a trope that you had to write a song like that. Like you got to
right.
have, as a 17-year-old, you had to have the family song, you had to have your friend song, you had to be your backstab song. Like it was all
Sure,
everything, and you're just copying what you heard.
sure.
And I wrote these songs at 17, and right before I turned 18, my grandmother passed away,
Yeah,
and it was really weird because I had already wrote this song from the perspective of someone that had lost a family member,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then all of a sudden, it's like I kind of wrote the song and like the lyrics meant more after I wrote it. And
yeah.
that was the first experience that I had with like lyrics
Wow.
kind of hitting me different. It was kind of a strange thing that happened, that I was trying to assume what I would feel, and I kind of nailed it in retrospect as best as I could as a 17-year-old. I don't think I write the same now. It's kind
But
of blunt.
without really connecting with the message and understanding, because you saw the
Yeah.
perspective and you're like, yeah, sure, and then it
Yeah.
actually
So I just kind
happened.
of,
You're, yeah,
yeah, I went through the motions and I was like, oh, I get it now.
yeah,
Um, and then, like I said, I took some time off from music, and I really didn't want to do anything serious when I came back,
sure,
which is the hints of septum bone. So it kind of was more of like, what can I get away with saying that would make people laugh? But at
right.
the same time, it's not like if you ever go like read my lyrics, like I'm not like just grunting or whatever.
Going
Like
ooga booga,
yeah, I'm not doing it like that dumb. I'm actually saying something. I guess it's
yeah,
I guess it's almost from this perspective of like someone else like looking back at how cavemen acted, and I'm like almost narrating it in a
Sure,
way.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
it's the way I look at it. And down the line, I like to do some like conceptual stuff, maybe like on a longer release, like have some like follow a specific theme of people or something.
yeah, yeah,
But it also, I mean, it's angry music. We're very like it's very heavy.
yeah.
Septimone definitely leans into like our guitar player's favorite band, as
Hmm.
much as in death metal as we are, is the Cashew Strain.
Oh, I
So
mean,
like I think
they're
we
the
have
shit.
the
Yeah,
yeah, I think that we have that. That's like the way we write songs is like there's
yeah,
always going to be the big breakdown payoff. Like it's
yeah,
always going to end in this. So it's very angry. So I do tend to write like
yeah.
if I'm angry, I'm going to be able to like channel that into a way of like writing about how there's one of the new songs is like you kill somebody and then use their blood to write on the walls the way that they died. Like
Fuck yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
painted their end with their blood, and that's like the cave paintings. But
It's pretty angry. Yeah,
yeah, I mean it's angry music. There's people that out there that I hate that I've always hated or whatever. And if I'm in a bad mood and
yeah,
they're on the mind,
yeah,
man, they just got strung up in a cave, buddy.
yeah. That's
Sorry,
right.
that's it for you.
You're my imagination, though. And
Yep.
that's the cool thing about this is I was talking to a few people about it, and it's just outside looking in, you're just like, man, these people are just nuts, and it's
Yeah.
like really, there's some of the nicest people are just people that are in metal, and because we have a way to help with it. I mean, at least that's what I keep trying, what I'm gathering from all my guests is
Yeah.
figuring out if this is indeed something that does help channel your anger out like positively, you know, um, because I get angry in traffic a lot, like a lot. Uh, so I don't really, I'll try to write when I get home, but usually once I roll down the window and flip them off, I'm good.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of anger during the day. There's a lot of shitheads. There's a lot of shit going on in the world that sucks constantly. You got to find your ways out and just kind of escape from it. So putting yourself in another perspective, even if, it could be something fairly your own, but if you're just thinking of a way to, you know, curb stomp someone's skull into a fucking giant stone, I mean, or whatever cavemen do, um, that's okay to do. I don't think that's weird. I think you're channeling your emotion, and it's not hard to get to that level, to be honest. I mean, it should be,
Yeah.
but people deal with so much shit now, and I feel like it's very positive, and it's just imagination, and we got to get it out somewhere. Otherwise, you're gonna actually go dress as a caveman one day, and
Yeah.
you know,
It's
hopefully
all
not,
over
but
for everybody.
smash someone with a stone, stone against
Uh,
stone, whatever.
Yeah, one of my like inspirations, I think he's like the poster child, always will be for me, is like Corpse Grinder.
Oh, of course, yeah,
Like that dude is like the master of writing the most like like just fucked up shit you'd ever read. And then
yeah.
like you go to his like social media or whatever, and it's like him collecting stuffed animals or like with
Yeah,
his like
he's an
child and
absolute
stuff.
beast at claw machines. But what he does, he donates all those to like children's hospitals and shit. Like the
Yeah,
dude
it's
is a
incredible.
fucking saint. But
Yeah,
he's like,
like the one of the nicest people.
yeah,
Like just and it's like the perfect representation for like what I think like an ideal like person, like extreme music person is
yeah,
to me. Um, and I think that like I think we're all kind of fucked up. If you like this kind of music, like you're probably not wired right. I
yeah.
can't imagine that like
No, I think we've all,
you know what I'm saying, and like
yeah,
I think that you see that like there is a lot of extreme music that's pretty like hateful.
yeah, sure,
Not to get like the negatives of it, but you see some
right,
guys that like are just pieces of shit and
sure,
not afraid to admit it
yeah,
as
and
someone
they're,
who as
yeah.
someone who likes black metal is kind of rampant. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, the NSBDM or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, non-social, yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like the thing is like not to
and
get on
that's
topic
it's shock
of like
value too. A lot of them are just really
yeah
trying to get a rise out of people, and it's they come from a super, white country that's like very Christian, and
yeah
it's been like that for a long time. That's why the church burnings happened in the first place. But
yeah. See, like that's the thing is like I don't like not even like get on that topic, but
right,
just
right, right.
it's fresh in my mind. We just had a conversation. I just had a conversation with some friends the other day.
That's
Yeah,
interesting
like
conversation.
I totally get like a lot of times it's like there's a band of five guys and like one of the dudes ends up being a terrible person.
Sure.
And like people are talking about like, like you get the conversation of like separating the art from the artist because you have four other people that put all this time into this band.
Right.
And it's like, do you drop them completely just because of the action of one member? But it's a completely different whenever it's a band that everyone signs up and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're like gonna sing about white pride. And
Right.
it's like this is music by awful people for awful people.
Yeah,
There's
you
no
can't. It's
justification
not a
for me. I
mystery. It's
can't
like,
get
well, he's
off
a
it.
nice guy and everything. It's like,
No, I don't care. I
he's
don't care what
not.
it is.
He's not
I
a
don't care
nice
what it is.
guy. He's
Yeah, and this is coming
that's
from somebody that has an expired tattoo,
yeah,
so I
right.
kind of have to. That's what I mean. But that's the thing is like that's a band that had other people
Right.
that were dedicated to it,
Yeah, yeah.
and one person ruins it for everybody. That's just completely different
Yeah, it's different.
from
It's
yeah
different
to me, and that's
when
not even the
they
topic we're on. But
right,
sorry.
right. No, no, it's fine. And I think death to all races, so we can say that and
Oh
that's
yeah,
cool.
it's easy,
Yeah. Or
easy.
caveman shit for that. Um,
Yeah, we all on this. Do we on this all in the Stone Age together? I
right.
don't give a fuck. That's
Yeah,
fucking
I
crazy.
mean, yeah, yeah. I can't deal with any of that. Um, but yeah, I think it's when it's not that, there's always gonna be people that abuse the the fucking awesome medium we have and what we've I guess is more chosen us. It's just music
Yeah,
subjective, whatever catches it, however it makes you feel, I think for us, I don't know what the issue is with if I had daddy issues early or early trauma or maybe a combination of both, and then I kind of just liked angry music, or it's just something that you just either like or you don't. And I just, was always kind of a weird kid and liked horror movies very early, so that was a factor too. It was pretty easy to see the Butchered at Birth cover and be like, yeah, that's exactly what I
yeah.
like. I don't even have to listen to it. I just know I'm gonna like it.
I thought that was for me too. I think like Eating Back to Life.
Yeah.
Like I think of that one pretty. You know, um, is it the Exodus one was crazy? Is that the one in the what's the who's the one with under the sheet? Jesus under the sheet.
Oh,
Is that
that's
not Exodus?
Deicide. Deicide.
Deicide. I'm sorry. You're
Once
right.
Upon the Cross.
Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, Once Upon a Cross. I don't want
Fuck
to say
yeah,
Exodus.
dude.
Anyways, like I just think like I did I felt the same way about like horror movies and
Hmm.
seeing stuff like that. Also, anybody like our age with like probably had um, unfiltered access to the
Yeah,
internet, which
pretty
was not a
much.
good idea. A
Well,
very
yeah, at
very bad
first
idea.
it was, for me, I had to, the internet wasn't really that big yet. Like YouTube wasn't really popping off yet. I had like metal magazines was kind of how I did it, and just people, my brother's friends were older and they showed me some stuff like Sepultura, 6 Feet Under,
Yep.
Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, all that good stuff. And then the horror movies came from, I was like just little. My mom would work nights, so I'd just stay up and just watch. We had every fucking channel, so I'll just sit there and just watch whatever came on. And usually at 3 a.m. when I'm still up, there was, Candyman, Exorcist, all the fun stuff. Hellraiser. I don't know how the first time I saw Exorcist, I pissed myself and I didn't
Yeah.
stay in my room for like a week.
Yeah.
Um,
It's weird movie like certain movies were like
and then I loved it. I was a fan ever
yeah.
since.
Certain ones like stuck in my head too.
Yeah.
Like I remember one that like I rewatched it again just the other day that like I don't remember like why. At the time, it scared me to death as a kid. Like 13 Ghosts.
Oh, that's some scary shit. I love that
I
movie.
rewatched it and I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I really really like vividly remember the door getting the dude in half. That
Oh
like
yeah, that's
it
awesome.
gets him
Where he's
in the
like
middle.
nice tits or
Oh
whatever.
yes
Yeah, and then
yes
just yeah, he gets
yep
fucking.
Whoop. Yep.
I don't know.
Um
Even to this day, and horror movies don't. Besides The Exorcist, there's been a couple other that scared me. Like The Dentist traumatized me for so long. But some of the other stuff. But even to this day, the Juggernaut is fucking terrifying.
oh dude, I
Like
want a TV show so bad based on every
they're
ghost.
supposed to be. I keep hearing rumblings of like it's possibly gonna
Yeah,
happen
it
now.
needs to happen.
Yeah, it'll that'll be like the number one watch show like for a long
Yeah, and
time.
put Matthew Lillard back in it.
Yeah, he's got to be
Put
back in
my
it.
boy back in it.
Yeah, he was the best
Yeah,
part of the movie.
yeah,
Um,
he's so
besides
good.
besides Cyrus, I think he was cool.
Yeah,
He was a little fucker, but I think he was cool.
yeah.
Uh,
Uh, um, yeah. For me, like another thing that you kind of like jog my memory about with like being obsessed with death and stuff is my like introduction to like extreme music. I kind of got fed it a little bit every so often by
Yeah.
different family members.
Mm,
My dad was a big Ozzy guy and a big Black
nice.
Sabbath guy,
Fuck
and I
yeah.
remember I don't want to say it wrong because like someone will look up the track listing and be like, you liar. But for some reason, I was given an Ozzy CD, and I can't remember which one it was. I don't think it was the Randy Rhoads tribute CD, but I
Tribute.
had
That's
that
a
one too.
really good though. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good, but I don't think it was that one. Anyways, my dad, my parents are divorced. I go see my dad like once every 2 weeks or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
The American story,
Yes, I do.
and he sends me with a CD, and he's like, "Don't listen to track five." I was like, "Hey, listen to the other ones. I listen to track five." So I immediately go to my room and put in track five. Like I'm not an idiot.
I think I know which one.
It was
Is it a
Suicide
Suicide
Solution.
Solution? Yep.
Yeah.
That's off of
So
the first one with, is it Blizzard? I think it's Blizzard of Oz.
Blizzard, is
Maybe.
that Blizzard?
Maybe.
Anyways, I know I don't want to be a
Or
liar.
it's the first one with Zach Wild, which is not Blizzard of Oz. It's
No,
fuck. I can't think of it.
which is kind of
Something
ironic. I'm not a huge Jack fan.
something wicked. I can't remember.
Which is ironic. I'm not a huge Jack fan, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, I like
I'm much more a Randy guy. Randy's like my goat.
I like
And
that.
the
And
fact
Jack,
that his last show was in Knoxville too,
it
like
was,
blows
yeah.
my it's
My
so
old
so so
therapist
fucked
actually
up.
was one of the druids with his wife on stage. I thought that
Yo,
was cool as fuck.
yo,
Because he did
that's
radio for a long
crazy.
time, and I was like, that's fucking cool. Yeah, I
But
went to
so
therapy, and all we talked about was radio and podcasting the whole time. And when he was retiring, he's like, you know what? I feel like I've failed you. Just come in here and we bullshit all the time. And I was like, I mean, that's kind of what I needed. Once I sat down in here every day, I didn't really want to talk about anything serious. So
yeah,
just a
it's hard.
professional friend, I guess.
Yeah, I paid you to talk about podcasting with me. Sorry, insurance.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I'd listen to that. And I was like, this is insane. And then later on, like my brother was a big Metallica guy. My older brother's like quite a bit. There's a big difference in age,
Yeah.
and he's a big Metallica guy. And
Okay, it is from Blizzard of Oz. Okay, I was right.
okay,
That's
okay,
not a Zach Wild album though, but yes,
no, okay,
it's good.
okay, that makes sense.
Such
That
a good
makes
song.
sense.
Anyway,
But yeah,
yeah.
incredible. That album is perfect, dude.
Front to
All of
back.
our. I'm like an Aussie diehard. I'm a Black Sabbath diehard too. Like
Yeah.
I'm like into the Dio. I'm into all of it. Some of that Dio shit's hard, dude.
Oh yeah.
It's so hard. Anyways,
Yeah.
um, but no, I kind of got like into Metallica. I remember
Yeah.
watching this some kind of monster documentary, like really young.
That's a good
Like,
one,
what
yeah.
is wrong with these people? Like, and I remember like how awful they all were, and I was like, man.
They were all
And
really
I like,
bad
and then
off
I
on
realized
drugs.
like when I got older, I'm like, wow, they're making the worst album. I'm
Yeah.
not a singer guy. I can't do it. But
Yeah.
anyways,
I'm not
that's
either.
how I got into extreme music was like pieces of it, and then I got a cousin that got into hardcore who lived in Charlotte,
Hmm.
and he got me into like kind of the more like I don't know if it's necessarily like youth crew, but like kind of like the more punky stuff is how he leaned. And like I won't even lie, like I went through the Sing Kid phase,
Yeah.
really really bad in metalcore, but I made the
I
jump.
still
Like
like metalcore.
I do too. I like the resurgence of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the heyday stuff of it. I guess like Prada. I think to me is like one of the best bands like ever.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Devil's Prada.
They're
But
good.
anyways, I got into the deathcore pretty early too, and then from there I just started getting like the more and more extreme stuff. It's kind of like my route. Big shout out to every breakdown video that ever got put on YouTube. Like 10 breakdowns that'll bust your
Yeah.
balls wide open or
Yeah, I
whatever. Like
made
all
one
those.
back in the day, like a top 10 breakdown thing, and
Incredible.
I think I had or no, I did that. I did a two-step one. It was like top 22 steps
Nice.
or something. It was like,
Dude, that was really hard for me as a kid to
yeah.
like understand what you're like. What do people mean on a two-step part? Like I don't
Yeah.
understand it. And then like now I'm like, oh, it's just a fucking double times. Like what are we doing?
That's a drum
But
beat,
my
the
child
boop,
head, I'm
bap,
like,
boop,
I
bap.
don't get it. What do you
And it
want from me?
goes all the way back to like, I don't even remember, like Minor Threat, I think, or Napalm Death, or there's a
That
whole
rules.
fucking thing about it. I don't know. Or like who
Yeah.
invented the two step, or what it's called, like a down, I don't remember. Called a
I
something
don't know.
beat.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
I
that was
love
kind
me
of
a
so like
dirty
I
two
kind of
step.
yeah, me too. It's so good. Pressure Point's like a two-step band. Like
Yeah,
that's like like we're just throwing those in.
I love it.
That's kind of what I wanted to say was actually it's like I kind of like being in both worlds
Yeah,
because I feel like with Septum and Death Metal Extended, you get to treat it more like a comic book is the way I look at it. Is
yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of like or like a B movie, like a B horror movie.
Yeah, you got
where I can say
more.
like I can
Yeah.
just say something that's fucked up and not
Yeah.
even think about it, like because it's
Right.
just it's fun and like I hope no one's taking me seriously because I'm not, you know. But then like I look at like bands like Hardcore and Pressure Point and
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
bands, and I like the bands that were more like diary esque, where
Hmm.
you're kind of reading their lyrics and you're like, I don't know. It's like it feels like you're almost not supposed to be reading it. Like it's so personal
Yeah.
that it feels like I'm getting into the realm of like I found someone's personal stuff and I'm just reading it without a permission.
Yeah.
A big inspiration on me is bands like Blacklisted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you get into like Blacklisted lyrics, like in Heavier Than Heaven or whatever, and it's like this dude's like telling me so much about his life, and I don't know who this person is. And it's like I'm uncomfortable with how much he's telling me.
Yeah.
And I like getting into that where I like kind of want to say something so outlandish that's true
Yeah.
that someone that if there's an off chance, I mean, like I don't care if put this out and 10 people listen to it. If there's an off chance that one of those 10 had went through something similar,
Yeah.
that it makes them feel a certain way, then I did my job. With the context of death, this song isn't out yet, but it's something that we're really going to jump into um, in the next release. We're really trying to work hard on the next Pressure Point release.
Hell yeah.
Is I'm a father, like I'm a proud father. I love being
Hmm.
a dad. I'm a family man by heart. I love it. It's my favorite thing ever. But my daughter's 4. Me and her mom actually had a stillbirth whenever he'd be like 5.5 now.
Wow.
And there's a band called Idols. I don't know if you know Idols. They're like a like punky
Sounds
stuff.
familiar. Yeah. Maybe.
They're not like hardcore at all as like a punk band.
Yeah.
They kind of lost me later on. Um, but they're European, just punk stuff. And he wrote a song, and it's like in the middle of this like kind of punk album, maybe a little post punk. It's like an organ song,
Yeah.
and he wrote this song about him and his wife having a stillbirth. And I like vividly remember hearing it because I want to say I heard it like 3 months after I went through it,
Wow.
and it was like the most like it's like the most powerful song I'd ever heard. But to someone else that had never experienced that, it means absolutely nothing. It's just like
Yeah.
annoying. It's like an annoying song that like slows down the middle of their album. So to me, I looked at that and I was like, oh, I want to say these things that I experienced because if it hits somebody in a certain way, to know that God, this is so lame. To know that someone's not alone in the way that they feel something, then
No, that's
that matters to me.
yeah.
That's why I enjoy having two bands.
Hmm.
Is I feel like there's two halves of my brain that I'm like satisfying with both directions, where I'm
Right.
able to like be both versions of myself at the same time. Like you know what I mean? Um, with like I remember that when I heard that song that Idols wrote. It's a song called June. There's the lyric at the end of it is "Baby shoes for sale, never worn." And I
Wow.
think that's like the most like gut punching lyric I've
That's
ever
fucking
heard.
deep. Yeah.
And I don't care like you know that's like the topic of like hard versus heavy and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
And that's
That's
real
like
shit. Yeah.
that's heavy. It makes you stomach drop. It makes you feel
Yeah.
terrible, and it's like something that someone experienced.
Yeah.
And again, if you aren't a part of the people that have lived through this would never cross your mind as like a lyric that mattered. They're like,
Right.
why the fuck is this punk singer talking about baby shoes? I don't give a fuck.
Right.
But to me, it's like this is a life changing song.
Mm.
So I think that um I feel like that we talk about like Corpse Grinder. I feel like he kind of does it where he has a solo band where he
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily go as deep into the like fantasy comical death stuff, and he kind of writes what he wants to write. But I
Right.
mean, he's a hardcore guy too, so that's not really
Mm.
surprising, But I think that the outlet to have that and be able to have both, to have music, because if I feel like if I only made music that was serious, I would depress myself.
Right.
And if I only had music to make that was funny, I would never say what I wanted to say. So I feel like it's a duality to
Yeah.
me. And some people are able to balance that in a single band. I like to have it separate for me because I think it makes more sense. I don't want to say very, very serious things in a caveman band. If you ever see us like Septum Bone, I say it every show. Like I don't have a lot of stage banter
Yeah.
because I don't want to. I'm not up there to get political or like try and change someone's mind about something because that's not what I'm there for. I'm there to have a good time with my friends.
Right.
But
Caveman shit.
caveman shit. But I will say there's one more thing. It's recently happened to us, and I feel like it's kind of important for the show. We played a show in North Carolina. It was a benefit show.
Hmm.
A guy had passed away in North Carolina,
Yeah.
and I didn't know the guy. My bandmates did, and I'm not from North Carolina. But as I looked up this person, and it's a hard thing for me to agree to because I'm asked as a front man to play a show to commemorate a person that I didn't know.
Right.
And I almost said no because I was like, I don't know this person. What am I supposed to, what do y'all want me to say?
Right.
So like as we're kind of thinking about playing it, I looked this person up and I realized that we were in the same room multiple times. Like I'd been to the same show as this person. And I mean, we were at small shows. We were like a house show together one time. I never spoke to this guy.
Damn.
And I got on stage and between our songs, the big stage manner part I have, I said, I'm not going to change anybody's mind about the way I feel about something, but I will say this, that if you see someone that's standing across the room at a show that's wearing a shirt for a band that you like, or if you think their style looks cool, if they have a cool haircut, if like they mosh cool, like just talk to people. It's like because it's like you'll never know where you're. Well, I was in the same room as a guy that these people love, and I never got to know him because I was maybe too shy to say something to him, or so too socially awkward to walk up to a person and like introduce myself to people at shows.
Sure.
Like, and now like I feel like I make a conscious effort as someone who plays in bands, who books shows,
Yeah.
to be involved in these people because you don't know when it's gone,
Yeah.
and it kind of sucks. Like that's the hard part about death. It's not really what happens next or where it goes or whatever. To me, it's like the people that were here
Yeah.
that either was like a lost connection or a connection that was missed or one that would I mean that was what bothers me
Yeah.
now is realizing you come into contact with all these amazing people that have these amazing lives with these amazing stories and you miss out on the chance to say something to them.
Yeah.
So
I've had
that's my
similar
big
ones
one.
too. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that guy, at shows, all this stuff, and just never said anything. And now that's it. Maybe, some of me thinks like maybe I was never meant to, or not even in a sense where it was a failed opportunity, but more or less like, what if it was a butterfly effect thing or something? I mean, who
Yeah.
knows, man? Like that's the
Somebody that, in the scene that you never really knew or whatever.
yeah, yeah. I
No,
mean, like
that really just boils down to me. Like I'm a big advocate for just being as nice as you possibly can be.
that's a good
Um,
thing.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like uh be nice to like hardcore death metal, all this stuff. It's like it's for anybody, but not for everybody. Is kind of like the
Sure.
saying that I view.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not like anti gatekeeping, maybe not pro gatekeeping, but somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, there are certain things where I'm just like, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, but
Gotta be a little protective of it, otherwise you're not passionate about it. If you have,
yeah,
um, I'm like
with
that with
booking
horror
shows.
too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Any like subculture that's like super. I don't want to say it's niche because like metal's kind of like on a huge uptick right now. To
Yeah,
me, like
yeah.
metal hardcore, like it's huge.
But I think people like it
Um,
because it is niche and people are like, "Ooh, what's this?" And then,
yeah,
they get into it because they know it's like something different. It's not new, but it's something different
yeah,
for them. And I think
yeah,
that's a huge reason why. And I like what you do because you have like, like a hybrid kind of death metal project and then you have like a straight hardcore project too. And I've seen recently how all that, which it's always kind of been right there together, but I think more recently people are kind of really delving into both scenes too and not just sticking with one because death metal and hardcore both seem pretty separately pretty elitist like here and there like it can, but I feel like over the years, especially now, it's bridged together like so well. And I think
yeah,
now the younger kids coming up were really just influenced by both, so they have an appreciation for the old school death metal that helped influence some of the new hardcore bands and like vice versa. So I think,
yeah,
it all goes hand in hand. We're all fans of all of it. So like it's good to see people just kind of blend it and actually really thrive and enjoy it and build a scene that they can all
yeah,
be, and there's exceptions, some bands just fucking suck and it's hard to admit that. You can still be a supporter and be a nice person about it. You don't have
yeah,
to just be like, man, fuck your band, it fucking sucks. I mean,
yeah,
if you don't like a band but you like the people, it's okay.
yeah.
You don't got to be a
Yeah.
fucking dick about it. But
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
same time, in your head, as metal fans, we're like, really, don't want that
Yeah. It's
band to play this show. Like, I'll just
yeah.
go sit outside. I mean, it's people's choice what they want to do. But some people just really can't be respectful. But and I
No.
get that. I totally do. I mean, there's a small part of my brain that wants to be the same way. I just don't. My actual human nature and not my primal brain is like, you know, don't be caveman. Don't
Yeah.
don't walk up and be like, you suck. You know.
This new era of like blending of like allowing like death metal bands to play hardcore festivals.
Yeah,
I
so
was
nice.
able to see Obituary at LDB,
Yeah,
and
it
like
was insane.
he nailed it. He comes
Yeah.
out in a agnostic front shirt,
Yep.
and like he's giving the mic up to kids. Like he didn't have to
Yeah.
do that,
Yeah.
And like they play like dude, them opening with Redneck Stomp was like the craziest moment, and that they
Yeah.
knew too
They
that they
knew.
play it and they stop, they
Yeah.
look, and they play it again. It's like
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah. They
god,
drag
dude.
it out for a while just to get people
Oh,
to
it's
beat the shit out of each other.
incredible.
And I think,
Oh,
with
incredible.
a lot of death metal shows now and the way it has been, you don't really see stage diving shit like that. I mean, I guess it depends on the
No.
venues, but I mean, it's not very common anymore. So like they were loving it because that's what their shit was like in the
Yeah, those
90s. Like
early videos were
they
incredible.
loved every second of that whole
Yes.
performance
Yep.
because they knew what they were gonna get and they
That's so sick.
yeah, and seeing I've seen Obituary a lot, but seeing them at a crowd like that is something that's just amazing. And I haven't really seen it too much with all the fucking shows I've been to. Like that was a really special one, and
Yeah.
for them to get like a literal like people crowding the stage at the end and like clapping and cheering, like showing the
Incredible.
appreciation by how like much
Yep.
that scene supports and appreciates Obituary as like a
Yep.
death metal band and an influence to a lot of like modern hardcore bands. Like that was a really awesome experience. Like to see that level of respect and just people having a good time.
I just want suffocation next year.
Oh man.
Give me suffocation. Let me just kill somebody to
Yeah.
pierce from within. You know what I mean? Just let me,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah, you get some
please.
real straight, nasty, blasting death metal shit. I mean, that's my favorite death metal band for sure. And phew,
Who, Suffa?
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. I love
They actually
suffocation.
live, 'cause I'm from Long Island. They were
Oh,
actually
yeah.
from Smithtown, so they were really close to where I used to live because I used to go to Smithtown Mall as a kid. And I didn't really know that until I talked to Terrence before. It was like, I didn't know you guys were from Smithtown. So like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, New York had a lot of those really cool bands that were like death metal, but like they definitely knew that New York hardcore like mattered. Like,
yeah,
like them and like Internal Bleeding and like
of course.
Eternal Being was New York,
Yep.
right? I'm not just
Mm-hmm.
talking shit up there.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Skinless.
a Skinless was the other one. Yeah, that like a lot
Fucking
of that stuff like made
Demolition
sense.
Hammer.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, man,
yeah.
Immolation. I mean,
God,
yeah. I
dude,
mean,
Immolation's
New
incredible.
York's got the heavy ass hitters too. I mean, them and Florida both. They covered
Yeah.
they covered the U.S. all. Ooh. Mortician, of course. New
Oh
York.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. And see, like it's
go
like
on.
I think it's different because like they came from the direction they like knew that hardcore existed, and like, I think you
Yeah.
can hear it a lot. And then Obituary, that big thing with them for me was like in the moment where everyone's like, "We need to go faster." They're like, "Fuck
Yeah.
y'all."
Yeah.
We're just gonna play
No.
this like slow as hell. It's
We're
so
just be
groovy. It's
sludgy, dirty,
incredible. Yes.
straight Southern shit, man.
Yeah, dude, it's
Southern
incredible.
groove that can't be
That's like probably
replicated.
that's like my biggest influence as a musician. It's like a mix between like that and like Scott Vogel. Is like that's where like I
Oh,
sit
Terror,
as
of
a
course.
vocalist. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's like my two. That's
No. For
as like a
hardcore, he's definitely
fan.
my favorite
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Scott, no doubt. Because they were one of the first like hardcore bands I heard that I knew was hardcore. Like them and Hatebreed, of course. And
Yeah, he's another one too. Justice, who I sound like when I do
no,
vocals
his
for
Pressure Point
really
sounds
both
like
bands.
a lot like
Yeah,
Justice. And
it's a lot old hate
yeah,
breed.
that's
That's a
good.
lot of what it
I like
is.
it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
Um,
people sound like that. So
you also mentioned kids these days like pulling like they're just saying they're kind of accepting that their influences. They're like they're wearing them more on their sleeves. Like no one's like scared to say
yeah.
who they pull for. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Afira showcase was this weekend. All the
Hmm.
Afira bands, whatever,
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
band covered Linkin Park today. They
Nice.
played, and like people were like absolutely just beating the shit out of each other to like Linkin
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah.
And then at LDB, fucking Balmora opens with
Hmm.
Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah, I remember
There's a
that. People are going
there's an
crazy.
yeah, there was an Alice cover from
Yep.
Day One.
Yeah.
That the local band Surface
Hmm.
covered
Yeah.
Eyeless, like
Yeah.
a Slipknot cover.
Yeah. That was
This
awesome.
That's cool to me. I like that the kids these days are, and like Sing Kid Metalcore. We are talking about
Hmm.
that. It's kind of like people are like, "Fuck you, it's cool." Like I
Hey,
like
man.
the fact. I'm gonna call him out a little bit. My best friend Zach plays bass in Pressure Point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much like a Madball,
Yeah.
Death Before Dishonor. Like that's his hardcore. Like
Oh, hell yeah.
that's just what he's into.
New York and what, Boston shit.
Yes, and he's
Yeah. Of
not. Like he's not a big death metal guy. He really liked Obituary Live. He dove a lot.
course.
That was cool.
Is he the
Kind
one
of
that
creative
wears like
live.
the Orioles jacket?
Yes.
Yeah, that dude's cool as shit.
I love him. But
Yeah.
he's very much a straightforward hardcore guy. And he like calls me sometimes. He's like, I don't get it. Why are these kids thinking that this stuff's cool? I'm like, Zach, I'm like, we're like kind of officially old, kind
Yeah.
of like we're on the other end of like in hardcore years, I'm like half like a foot in the grave. And like these kids
Yeah.
are like going back and it's like kind of revisionist history. We're
Hmm.
like, fuck you, like this was always cool. And I like
Yeah.
that. I like it. I want to be told that I was wrong my whole life. I love
Yeah.
it because
Like
it's not
the
for it's so cool.
like the first time I heard Hatebreed or really any kind of hardcore, um, I was at, I used to go to work with my mom all the time. She worked at like a geriatric hospital, and she had these like CNAs that were like, younger. And we went out to their car one day, and they had Satisfaction as a Death of Desire on cassette, and we played it and listened to it in the car, like the whole fucking tape. It
Yeah,
was amazing. I was like, this is fucking nasty shit. I love it.
yeah,
And this was
yeah,
when I was like, 10 or 11, maybe. No, I was, yeah, maybe around that age, something like that. But I mean, awesome shit. Like
yeah.
that shows my age. That was a good time. And I'm glad tapes are back too. I buy them all the time. I love collecting tapes. They're a lot cheaper than a fucking vinyl. It's like $40,
Uh,
but I mean, whatever people want to pay for and help the bands.
we have tapes coming. Septum will have
Fuck
tapes.
yes.
We're
Fuck,
doing them
I'm getting one.
through our, like I said, book shows with East Tennessee Hardcore. We're trying to get it up off the ground, do a little bit more with it. We're doing Scruffy City Records, which we're
Awesome,
going to put
man.
out some tapes and CDs and stuff. We've done a
Sick.
couple stuff soon, or we did a CD for Extinct. We'll
Hmm.
probably do more stuff down the line, but we're going to do tapes through our own little SCR brand. But
Yeah, day.
yeah, I love tapes coming back. I have some tapes in around here somewhere and stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
I think in an age of streaming, having
Yeah.
something physical means the
Yeah.
world to me.
I've
I'm a
always been
huge
a
fan.
physical media fan. I got a
Yeah,
Blu-ray whatever collection, and I've always bought CDs. I still have them all with the artwork, and I love just kind of popping them out, looking at them once in a while. It's just reading the
yeah,
shit,
and it
whatever.
was cool to me. Like I was able to put like the we were doing 7 inches,
Hmm.
and it's like who do you want to give shout outs to? And it's like oh
Yeah.
I'm doing the thing that I did. Like I
Yeah.
read like all the times I bought vinyl, and it's like you pull it out and read who wrote what. Like
Yeah.
thanks to this person and shout out to this band, and
I
then you
used
look
to do
them
that
up.
too. That's what I was
So
thinking of when
cool.
you were saying that. I was like, dude, I used to read the shout out parts specifically, like special thanks, and I would be amazed, like, oh, they like said thanks to this band I also like, and
Yeah,
I don't know why that's nerded out over that, but
yeah,
it was always kind of a cool little thing to look up when just you read it front to back. It was fun to have physical
yeah.
media,
And you
not
like you
click
play it
around
while
online.
reading the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like that was the fun part, especially like death metal.
Yeah.
Like I remember like when you get into stuff that's like really like I kind of I stay in the more like you can kind of understand what I'm saying registry. I'm not
Right.
going anything too deep or anything.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of me coming from hardcore. I can't really lose that part of my voice,
Sure.
I'd
Yeah.
say. But like some of the guys that like do some like really, like I think like I got really into Fetus.
Oh yeah.
And that's like one of my favorite bands.
Oh, for sure.
But like some of that stuff, like I gotta sit down and like what the fuck what the fuck's he grunting about or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think of him, that was like one of the early ones. I'm like, damn, I need the lyric sheet or I'm never gonna fucking know what the fuck he's
I remember
saying.
one band that it's Despised Icon. I've like a lot of their lyrics. I've like I've looked at while I've been listening to them, and they're not the lyrics. Like I don't know if they translated in French, maybe. Like I don't know how it, but I swear I've
Yeah,
read a few of their songs, and I'm just like, definitely doesn't. That's not what he says. Like
he
on
does the
here.
pig squeal stuff too. I don't
Well,
think
yeah,
he.
but that's
I don't think.
what's his name?
Yeah,
Not Alex Aaron, the other guy. Um,
yeah. Because
but yeah,
Alex is Aaron that did Obey the Brave or whatever. Was that right? Who's Obey the Brave? He was the one with like the higher registry. Yeah, he
Alex,
was
yeah.
like the higher registry. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, huge. I'm a huge Tobias Icon
Oh, me
fan.
too.
Like
Yeah.
huge. Um, I've been dying Septum Bone to do a Despised Icon cover
Oh, you
because
should.
our drummer is like a fucking maniac. He's very, very
Yeah.
fast. He loves his fast shit. And I know very few drummers that could do a Despised Icon cover. And I think that he's like one of the few. And I'm like in a like the way my brain works is I'm in a band that with a guy that can do it. Why
Yeah.
the fuck aren't y'all letting me do it? And but I'm trying to figure out if we can play MVP in 2024 without being
That's a hard
canceled.
one. Oh, being
No, I'm not worried
canceled.
about it. I'm just worried because it's a little bit of a of a questionable song.
Well, it's about it about trying to get someone to suck their dick or something.
I know, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
I
like,
think they were just being more edgy, like
yeah, of course,
talking about being a athlete and getting pussy, I guess. I don't know.
dude,
What if that's
dude.
really what they were going for, or they just kind of were trying to be hard, kind of add a little bit of a hip hop element to their lyrics. I don't know.
Being in a deathcore band and like what I don't know, that song came out like what 07.
Yeah, something
And
like
he's
that.
like, you be a classy looking hoe is like an
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
lyric from
Put
it's
this thick member in
incredible.
your mouth and start to blow. Yeah.
Dude, dude, I love him so much.
Yeah.
Incredible band.
Like I said, I think they're very hip hop like influenced as far as their style. Like at least Alex is, and I mean, obviously they don't like rap or do any of that shit, but they have like the personas a little
Yeah.
bit. At least the
Well,
Alex Aaron does, and then some of the lyrics, definitely, that's part of the hardcore element too. Is very hip hop influenced, and going back to the death metal and the hardcore thing relating, the most of the death metal guys. They're all like punk kids too, grew up
yeah.
with Misfits and all that kind of shit. So
Yeah.
they've
I,
had that punk background, so like hardcore is never really too far from what they've
no.
already grew up with. So they respect it and support it, and I just don't think it's the scenes were so vastly different for a long time. I don't think they wanted to blend it, together as much, but now it seems like the obvious thing to do is to,
Yeah.
have more just straight up hardcore death metal shows. Um, like blatantly obvious ones, like
Yeah.
mostly hardcore, throw in a bunch of death metal, like seeing Dying Fetus at a hardcore fest that they did.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
God,
See,
it's disgusting.
and then like the Tri Cities, like the area that I'm from in East Tennessee, like that we have like Piss Rotten Chunked, which is pretty much the same band,
They're
but
great
with like
bands and they're young as shit. They're
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 young
really
as fuck,
good.
and they're like
Yeah,
they're young.
yeah,
None of them are 18 yet,
yeah,
and well, Piss Rot. But then like
yeah,
these are young kids, and like they're like we want to play hardcore shows, like we don't want to
yeah.
play like a death metal, like they would, like depending on who it is. They're playing
Yeah.
Exhumed
Right.
next Wednesday, but
That's gonna
they're
be sick.
like,
I'm wearing this because I won't be there, but
yeah, that's
Skeletal
a good
Remains
one.
is so good. And
Skeletal
Exhumed.
and dude and Morbicon, dude, I'm
Yeah,
so
Morbicon's good too,
excited.
man. That's
Yes,
gonna be good.
yes.
I leave for Maryland
Um,
that day, so
yeah, right. Death
but yeah,
Fest. What
yeah.
a festival too. I'm so jealous.
There's some good ones this year.
So jealous.
But yeah, I saw Skeletal last year, so I got this hat. So I was like, man,
Sick
I want
hat.
to see him again since I saw him in 2022 so bad. But
Yeah.
I hope
See, that's another
everyone
thing.
fucking goes extra hard since I won't be there for them. But they absolutely fucking rip. Like they're so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Just
I'm excited for that show. And we got Cruelty that same week too.
I'll be at that one for sure.
Dude, that's so
Well,
crazy.
that's why I was like, like when you posted about it, I was like, if that's cruelty, I would really shit my pants. And then it was like,
Oh
God,
yeah, I put
oh,
Cruel with a
mhm.
K.
I was like, no fucking way, cruelty's playing here. Sure
We got
enough.
them off that tour. They played Nashville the day before. We
Yeah, yeah.
gotta go back. I was like, well, fuck it, we might as well.
That's gonna be a brutal one.
Man, yeah. So like the booking shows maybe for me is like more of a payoff, not like financially. I'm not making money of
Right.
like an actual payoff for me than playing in bands currently. Um, the Tri Cities, Kingsport, John C. Bristol, for me, there wasn't like all ages spots,
Yeah.
and like paying that forward for the spots that I used to have as a kid.
Hmm.
There's a kid, unnamed, that come up to me at a show, and he's like 16, and he's like, I didn't have anywhere to go, and I was really going with like a hard home life, and like
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you're doing shows, and he's like a straight up like Mohawk,
Yeah.
like crush punk, and like he's coming to my shows because it's like I don't necessarily book a lot of crust bands or anything, but like that's
Right.
where he has to go, and now like
Yeah.
if I can keep this kid away from a shit home life one day a month or whatever,
Yeah.
dude, that's that's the coolest thing about music to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
And specifically like places like hardcore death metal, like where I can book a room that's 100 cap,
Yeah.
and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That may mean more to me than anything else I do currently.
Yeah.
Just as a whole, like my impact on people, that
Yeah.
means a lot to me. So
Yeah. And
I
just
would say that we're talking about booking shows. I figured I'd throw that in there.
no, that's part of it. And like I said, anything you got going on and bring up, that's why we have you here. Um, and if anyone, like I said, is anywhere near, Bristol, Tri-Cities, Knoxville, Tennessee, if you come out here, or if your band's looking for places to play down here, there's thanks to the East Tennessee Hardcore
Yeah,
Collective, there's a shit ton, and they book death metal, obviously.
yeah,
So
we do.
both, uh,
Yep.
they booked some crazy shows already, like the end of last year and going into this year. There's been a shit ton of really good shows. Um, and they keep
We
coming,
book some
even,
weird stuff too.
yeah.
We do some occasionally, especially stuff with like B of Cloud Eater.
Hmm.
She plays bass in Never Promise Kept, but we'll do some weird stuff too. We'll do some like cyber grind or noise and stuff. We got a guy up here that plays cyber grind. It's like I don't know what you want to call it. There's that genre gets so weird with stuff. He's like gabber grind, I guess. He's kind of like dancey, but he also gets in the crowd and might punch you in the face. But his name's
Yeah, that, yeah.
Top Panic Rupture. I do a lot with
Okay.
him too. Very very cool
Nice.
guy. But we do some weird shows too. But yeah, dude, we have one of the coolest scenes currently for a place that's like maybe a C market.
Yeah.
Tri Cities is definitely C. I would probably call Kings or Knoxville like a B market probably. Like
Yeah.
we're like second to Nashville, but we have one of the coolest scenes. Yeah, if anyone's close, like please come out. I think it's so dope.
Yeah.
It's accepting. It's like one of the few times I can remember like shows like this where like no one's like there's no secret beefs right now. It feels like it's like everyone gets there and it takes you 20 minutes to say hello and like
Yeah.
takes you 20 minutes to say goodbye because everyone like loves each other right now. There's
Yeah.
no like animosity really to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome. I fucking love it. It's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
if
it
anyone's
should
listening to
be.
this on tour, hit us up. We'll try to book
Yeah,
your
for
band.
sure. And I'll put the links down in the videos and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or even pop it up on here. Let's see where my editing takes me when I get to it. Um,
Here,
there'll
put it.
definitely be links in the bios, but
You can put it in my
yeah.
hands right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I can put it in here. All right, yeah, that works too. Easter's here. I'll make a little bing noise. Um, yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Always looking for ways to improve. Um,
I'm gonna start like throwing my hands up and like making you
yeah.
edit a bunch of shit, like fire and like lightning. Like I gotta make you do all
I
this
can
shit.
do it. Give me a little more
It's
of
gonna
a
be a 40
task. Yeah.
a 40-hour video by the time I get done throwing my hands around.
Make gifs of it, all kinds of shit. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think, this goes back to the whole purpose of this podcast, really. It's just to talk to people more personally and about, um, how important I think, death metal and hardcore is, and just, metal as a whole. But I think metal now, as you said earlier, is a little more, it's kind of a little more mainstream now than it used to be. It has its spurts where it's on and off with people, where people
Yeah.
start to think it's cool again, or just more shit just kind of starts, breaking through a little bit to the mainstream. But to me, hardcore and death metal will always be underground and niche. Even it doesn't matter how big the band gets, it's still underground in a way. It's like, Cannibal Corpse did play on Ace Ventura, and they're big because of that still to this day.
Yep.
But they'll always be Cannibal Corpse, and they'll always be playing clubs, and that's it.
Yep.
It's and festivals obviously, but they're still, a death metal band that'll always be right where they're at. And that's
Yep.
good. They're on top of the scene where they're at, always will be. But
Same with like Knocked Loose and stuff. Like I don't care how
Yeah.
big of the venues they're playing. I don't care if they play Coachella. That's a fucking hardcore band. And if you hate Knocked Loose because they got too big, fuck you.
I
That's so
bought my
fucking
ticket for
stupid.
their Saturday show in Louisville because I've actually never
Yeah.
seen them. So
Who Knocked Loose?
yeah,
You've never seen
I've
Knocked
always
Loose?
missed them every time I
That's
could have went.
crazy.
Yeah, because when they came to Knoxville, I was out of town and they had came that like the day I was getting back, and I didn't get to go. It was them and Dying Fetus. I was like,
Yeah,
I
I was
really
there.
wanted to fucking go.
I
Um,
gotta
so
get
yeah,
down that shit.
yeah, I bet.
I'm
So I
I'm
got,
I'm I'm still banned from the Concord.
yeah, that's a
Oops.
good thing. I think it's funny. If you
Oops.
can throw down that hard, it's better than
Yeah, we played we Knocked Loose played Coffees in Jefferson City.
no shit.
We played it. Yeah, it's Vice and Knocked Loose and Full Swing and a bunch of other bands. It's like
When was that?
2014,
Okay, yeah. I
2015.
was gonna say
Yeah.
coffees. I remember they brought it back for a minute and then
No
it went
heat.
away.
It was
Yeah.
January. No heat. It was the coldest show I've ever played in my life.
Wow.
It was brutal.
Damn.
It was awful.
You played
Anyways, yeah,
downstairs or did you play in the cafe
upstairs
part? Okay.
cafe.
I've played them both and it's basement's fun.
Yeah,
Um
they played there. They played Long Branch
wow.
because back in the day, pre LDB, it was Midwest Blood.
Yeah, yeah.
Midwest Blood after show happened at Knoxville one year. It was
Huh.
like Knocked Loose, Will to Die, um, Society Sucker from North Carolina, band
Hmm.
rules. Like Spitback,
Yeah.
Nine Eyes, which like Nine Eyes is like pre-inclination kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was like it was in the Long Branch one year and it was like
Where the
stupid.
fuck was I when that was happening?
I don't know.
So I
I
used to
don't
go to
know.
Long Branch all the fucking time.
I know. We were there. We were there. We again. There you go. There's a misconnection. We went to shows together for God knows how long, and
I
really
know.
didn't become friends until I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But
it's
also, I was
nice.
like legitimately like 16, 17,
Right,
18
yeah.
at the time. So
That's fair. Still,
yeah.
been around and here we are. Um,
Oh, yep.
but yeah, knocked loose. But the main reason I wanted to go, not just because I haven't seen them yet, but Trash Talk's playing too, and I haven't seen them either. So I was like,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna see Knock Loose the first time, see him with Trash Talk, like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Who was on day one? I feel like day because everyone's saying that Trash Talk Day was better, but I remember saying I like audibly said
They're
out loud. I
both
think
really
they.
good, but if I could just,
What was the
if
other
I had to
one?
pick one, I'm gonna look it up real quick. Um,
I want to say like I was an advocate against the dudes in our we have a Discord for East Tennessee,
yeah.
and I was like advocate like I was an advocate for the other day. Everyone's like trash talk. I'm like I'm pretty sure I'd go the other day if I picked. I can't remember what it was now. My mind's open.
Knocked Loose release show. I don't remember what it's like a hometown show. They're
Yeah,
both
it's
at
two
the
Louisville shows back to back.
Paris Town Hall, which is the only time I've been there is where I saw my first K-pop show, so that was cool.
That's pretty
Um,
cool.
so
I know
now
you're a
I'll
big
see my
K-pop guy.
oh yeah, so seeing Knocked Loose their hometown at back at that venue because they don't really have a lot of shit like or at least I don't pay attention. It's a new venue. I think they built it like during the pandemic because it popped
Wow.
up
Yeah.
like right after. It's like a brand new. I can't really compare it. Like it's almost like I want to say it's concourse size. Like it's pretty big.
Wow.
And it's
Dude,
brand
did
new.
you
It's really
did
nice.
it might be bigger than that.
Yeah.
Knocked Loose headlined that show in LA and got 6,400 people the other day. 64. I think Concourse is like 1,000 something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it
I
might
could.
be more. It looks pretty big.
The only venue I've ever been in Louisville is Triple Crown, which is where LDB's at.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't go to Louisville much. I like driving North Carolina if I'm going to a show. No, for
Yeah.
me, being
Yeah,
this close,
it's a lot closer for you.
for me, yeah, I'm going there tomorrow for Contention. That new Contention record's my
Oh
album
yeah.
of the year. If anyone
Oh,
needs to listen to a new album,
I just listened to
Artillery
that
from Heaven.
yesterday. Yeah.
Artillery from Heaven Contention is album of the year. I'm straight edge, so I'm biased. Anything that's like anything ignorantly straight edge, I'm sold.
No, I just listened to that one yesterday. The
Yeah,
funny thing, I had it, I guess, pre-saved because it said it was already saved on my Spotify, but I actually like
yeah,
finally listened to it. I was like, holy fuck,
dude, it's
this is
evil,
some,
man.
yeah, it's really good.
They treat straight edge like a holy war. Is like it's like
Yeah,
to me the way it's like they're like one of the songs is ICBM, which is like Intercontinental Ballistics Missile.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's so fucking cool.
yeah.
That's so cool.
That goes pretty
Anyways,
hard. So the first show, that's what it is. Poison the Well's playing the first night.
Oh yeah, dude, come on. I
White
think
Reaper,
Poison the Well over
Division of
Trash.
Mind. Division of Mind is really fucking good too.
Dude, they're nasty.
They're opening that one. And then Saturday is, I think it's Psycho Frame, Trash Talk, and Super Heaven.
I'm kind of impartial on Cypher Frames. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I think honestly, I do think the first day is better. Division of
The
Mind's
Trash
really
Talk.
good. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Poison the Well, I was never really like, I
Oh,
kind of skipped out on them when they were out because I wasn't really, but as I got older, I do like them. I didn't like not like them, but I just kind of wasn't a part
yeah.
of it when people started really listening to them. I was kind of, I don't know what I was listening to then. Um,
Um,
but yeah, they're really good, and I like they've
Shout
been,
out. There's a band from Florida called Keep Reaching. They're like they call themselves like emotional metalcore.
yeah,
They sound like drives like Jehu or whatever, like that old stuff.
yeah.
But they played my tiny little VFW in Kingsport, and they covered "Artist Rendering of Me" by Poison the Whale. It was a fucking war zone. Oh my
Nice.
god, it was crazy. Everyone there that cared about metalcore was just losing their fucking mind. They're also on Knoxville Hardcore Fest, so that can tie back in.
Yeah,
Come see Keep
Balmora
Reaching.
is too.
Oh yeah, we have
Let's
Balmore on the
see.
after show on
Ah.
Monday after show.
I think that's because we saw them at LDB. They were actually really good.
Love
Um,
Balmora. I love like evil metalcore. Pray for Cleansing, Undying, North
yeah,
Carolina.
yeah.
So that's incredible.
So no, Ethan that was there goes to shows all the time. Uh, he pulled me aside because he was at LDB and was like, dude, do you like old school like metalcore shit? He's like, I feel like you do. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. He was like, you need to watch Balmora's set for sure. And they were
Yes.
exactly that. They were fucking awesome. They were just a lot of
Yep.
fun.
Modern day Pray for Cleansing.
Yeah. When there
That
was a
split they did was my favorite
yeah,
the other year so far. Was Since My Beloved. I love that
yeah.
split.
So yeah, metalcore talk, death metal podcast, but
Sorry.
it's cool. No,
Oops.
we're all into whatever. I listen to fucking K-pop.
Oops.
This is going
Yeah,
up
that's true.
on kpopmetaltheguy.com. So
That's
you know.
true.
But yeah, I mean, um everyone's into different shit and we all I can get down on some old school metalcore and
Uh,
all day,
my I'll tell you this story real quick for you, as a K-pop person, and then I'll stop going on tangents.
All right.
I'm my K-pop knowledge is zero. My
Yeah.
J-pop knowledge is zero. I know nothing about it. I went 2015 to I think the first Carolina Rebellion,
Okay.
and the only reason I went was because Code Orange had just put out "I Am King," and they were
Ugh.
like playing first thing in the morning.
Ugh.
So I get there at like
So good.
it's like 11 noon, and I'm like moshing my ass off with like a bunch of drunk rednecks that are there to
Yeah,
see like Godsmack or whoever. No, it was like Rob Zombie, I think, headline that
nice.
night or whatever,
That's
which
cool. Yeah.
was sick. It was very
Yeah.
sick, but they were not there for Code Orange. They were
Right.
just already drinking beer at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And Code Orange was sick. 68 played right after them. That
Oh
was sick
wow.
too. Like it was a
Yeah.
really cool day. There's Deftones played that day,
Nice.
but at one point I'm looking and I'm like trying to go get some food or whatever. So I'm like just kind of wandering around and it's set up like multiple stages.
Yeah.
And I come across what's the pop band with the pop metal band? Baby Metal.
Baby metal, yeah.
Okay, Baby Metal just started playing. And like
Hmm.
I had known who they were. Like
Yeah.
this is kind of like when they first started coming to the States, if I had to guess, because they weren't playing at like 2 p.m. So they weren't like that late in the evening. Like they weren't,
Yeah.
big stage, big crowd, and I'm like watching from damn near like half a mile away or whatever. It's so far back,
Yeah.
and I'm literally in awe.
Hmm.
I it's like I don't remember. They just started. I
Yeah.
watched their entire set, and it felt like I've been standing there for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was the most captivating thing I'd ever watched in my life. I couldn't wrap my head around it, and afterwards
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, huh?" It was just like that was it.
Yeah.
Are they Japanese or
Yeah, they're Japanese, so
dude?
J metal or whatever.
It was the most mind-boggling experience I'd ever witnessed
Yeah.
to me, because I had no, I just it was like a culture shock to me because I know
Yeah.
nothing about it, and I was like, these people are like they're these girls are synchronized dancing to like
Yeah.
brutal music. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
It
It's
is.
incredible.
It's a really good band behind them. And
I want to say it's the infamous picture of like Rob Zombie where he's like with them, and like
yeah.
people, like he posted it and like people started talking shit, and
Hmm.
he's like just replying, like ripping people to shreds.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the concert, like that was the
Yeah.
show. from that infamous picture, which is pretty
Oh yeah,
funny.
nice. And then see, I saw them with Death Clock a few months ago.
Oh,
It was
yeah, that's what.
awesome, and it was it wasn't a very big venue. It was pretty it was pretty it's pretty dope seeing them actually there. It was really cool. But they had pictures with like Jeff Walker of Carcass and like all these other
Yeah,
like awesome like metal dudes that I look up to and just love and seeing them just like these girls are fucking sick. It's like
so cool.
that's another thing. Just blend that shit in too. Just have fun with it.
Yeah,
They they go pretty hard to be honest. What I tell
incredible.
people, it's like if you like anime or something like that, you can get into it. It's what it sounds like a little bit.
No, I like anime. Like I have a Naruto tattoo on my leg and
Fuck yeah.
stuff.
Well, there you go.
But I just missed it. I don't know. It just wasn't something I ever listened to. I'm really
Yeah.
not a big pop person, like kind of up
Yeah.
front. If I go pop, it's like I like older R&B and stuff like that. That's kind
Sure.
of like
Yeah.
where I go rather than like pop music, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it to me, it's like they reminded me of like performers of like the heyday of like Prince and like
Hmm.
Michael and stuff, where you like if you come see me, like I'm a fat idiot, like I'm like gonna be huffing and puffing, and I get a drink of water like every 10 seconds and stuff, and like I'm stumbling and fall, like I'm forgetting words. They're like it's perfect all the time. They
Yeah, because
never
that's the
stop.
crowd you're playing in front of like a lot of the time, is
Well, yeah, and but like but like with Michael or like anybody that was in Michael's band or like Prince, they were perfect all the time, and like
yeah.
they didn't seem human. Like you never saw Michael like take a drink out of a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Like the last era of like great performers, I think is like dead, and
Yeah.
like that's what lives on through
Or they're
like
not
J-pop and
around because
K-pop to
it's
me.
also like girl and boy groups kind of too. Like you got Spice
Yeah, that's
Girls and all that
true.
shit.
Yeah,
Same thing though. I mean, it's just crazy choreography and
yeah.
only they're doing it metal style, and that's really just
Yeah,
interesting,
it was 30 minutes of nonstop dancing, moving, singing.
Yeah.
They never ran out of breath. No one messed up. No one
Yeah.
took a drink of water. And I'm like, I couldn't wrap my head around it. You know what I mean? I just could. So that could never be me.
Yeah.
Like if you come see me, you're gonna be like, this dude needs to hit the fucking gym, dude. This guy's fucking, I'm huffing and
He's got
puffing
a
and
bigger
shit.
water bottle than that one he's got here. He's got a fucking
Yeah, dude,
jug.
I'm sucking that thing
He's
down too,
jug
dude.
chugging at the
Yeah,
shows.
dude.
It's fucking what? Just pour it over yourself when you do it.
Yeah, do
Yeah,
that too.
I would. But dude, it's been awesome talking to you, and I really appreciate you coming on and kicking it with me for a little bit. It's always good to see you.
You
And
too, man.
yeah, go and stream or go to Bandcamp or wherever on. I'll put the links below to Septum Bone and Pressure Point. They got their spring demos up, and you can check them out. And Septum Bone also has merch up for pre-order as well. So if you like what you hear and you're a fellow caveman, a member of the tribe, then definitely um, subscribe, like all their shit, buy some stuff, come see them at a show. But yeah, it's been awesome.